What's going on, everyone? It's Bales, and welcome back to another AFL Fantasy Round Review. Round 18 is done, and as you can see, a bit of a, again, different setup as I'm still in Perth, so enjoying my time over in WA. But my best week of the season, it turned out, so scoring a 2,408, so that's 3 weeks in a row that I've scored 2,400. But the round rank is 897, so it's the first time this season we've been able to have a triple-digit round. Overall rank of 4,269. That put me up 1,204 spots from last week. So we cracked the top 5K. I thought we were going to crack the top 4K for a lot of for the back half of the round, and when I knew that I was sort of on for a decent week. Unfortunately, a few players on the Sunday let us down, or one in particular anyway, which we'll get into in a sec. But my +3 for the week, it's got to be Tim English. 140 is my VC. I'm obviously going to lock that in every day of the week on the Thursday night. And yeah, I was sort of tossing up, do I go him VC? Do I go Brayshaw? Do I go Dawson? And I went English with the Hickey news that he was out. So I thought, too good to pass up, and obviously very, very helpful that I did end up doing that. My -3 has to go to the guy today that really let me down. And it was my guy that I brought in this week in James Sicily. 934k I paid for him, and unfortunately, he only scored me 65. So, it really stopped me from having a top 500 round rank for the weekend. I would have cracked the top 4k if it wasn't for him. But hey, besides that, the team went decent, so I can't be too upset. I think it was still the right call to bring him in for my team. He just didn't put up the score. Let's get through the scorers anyway. So Sissy, as we mentioned just then, 65. I think he'll bounce back. He's got Richmond and St Kilda in his next two. I expect a couple of good scores to sort of help with the pain of that 65. Because maybe a few coaches aren't going to bring him in this week. Maybe they're going to look at that and think, well, I'm not going to bring a guy that scored that low in, but hopefully they don't, and then hopefully puts up a good score. Sam Docherty as well was disappointing with an 88. I know Port Adelaide's a tough matchup, so on one hand you can look at it that way, but on the other hand he was on 51 at half time. He ended up having would have been a 29-point last quarter. So he only had, the 8 points in the third quarter. Could have been 100 if he had a good third quarter, but hey, again, I'm happy to have these guys, and Docherty's got West Coast this week. I expect a response from him. Jack Sinclair, 86 as well, obviously disappointing. I think, again, that was his third quarter that was quiet. So him and Docherty had very similar games, actually. I think Sinclair was on near 50 at halftime, had a pretty poor third quarter, then had a good last quarter. So disappointing, but hopefully the three big guys I've got in defence, without the two guys in the midfield there, hopefully they'll respond next week. Stewart's another one, 79. So my four defenders, they're all putting up sub-90 scores. Stewart, again, in a decent enough matchup against the Bombers down at GMHBR. I thought he would have put up a good score here, but again, 79. And a bit of an issue moving forward, I think. He just hasn't had that 140 ceiling that we've sort of hoped that he would have had when we all brought him in. He's been solid contributor, but again, I think he's just going to be that sort of 90 to 95. I don't think he's going to push that 100-plus marker like a Sicily can, even though this week he didn't do that. Docherty, Sinclair, Dawson, Dacos, they can all do it. So, yeah, a bit of a concern with Stuart moving forward. Will Day, who I thought I was going to be... long day going the footy, so apologies for the yawning there. But Will Day, 111. I thought I was going to be getting rid of him this week, but again, just put up a good score. North Melbourne, again, Richmond this week, and then St Kilda the week after. Two good matchups. Day ain't going anywhere, I don't think, for at least a fortnight. So, yeah, I'm very, very happy with him this week. And again, he could have been one that was a shout for that +3 there. I think Bindi on the podcast last night gave Will Day the +3, which is very well deserved there. Lockie Ash, 73. Just very disappointing. Like, he was on, again, he got to 51 at half time. I thought, here we go. This is very handy for my pod to be going, hopefully, a 90+, and 22 points in the second half really put a dampener on that. And the fact that Giants ended up winning the game, which annoyed me as well. So it was also the fact that Ash did crap, and then they won the game. Not much could do about that. But yeah, very disappointed with Lockie Ash there. And he will be going for me this week. Chester, obviously, 37, disappointing there against Richmond. And then Mullen, obviously, coming as a sub with only a 5. Jordan Dawson, 123. He just continues to get it done. Like, again, another 7 marks, 7 tackles, 123. That's now I believe, 4 scores over 120 in a row. Yeah, 4 scores over 120. Only 1 score below 120 since round 11. So he's doing that sort of Taranto run that he had at the start of the year, but he's putting up his own really nice run. And Melbourne this week, Port Adelaide, a couple of tricky matches there. I think Melbourne could be okay at the MCG. Port will be a bit tricky there. Gold Coast, Brisbane, Sydney, West Coast finish the year. I think he'll have a pretty good finish to the year. And again, he's, I think, matchup proof. He's at $1.09 million. So he's so close to that $1.1 million mark. Only Taranto's hit it. Can Dawson? He needs a 130 or more this week to get there. But I think if anyone can, I think Dawson's shown that he can this year. Marcus Bontempelli continues his great season, another 142 there. Very happy with him. Seeing him and English both go huge was obviously fantastic. And Bont, as I've said a few times on the round reviews this year, very happy to have started with him. Nick Dacos, 132, continues to just put up bumper scores week after week. That's another 132 following up from that 150 got a couple of weeks ago. And he's just been solid the last month since the bye, just getting it done and getting these good scores. He has only gone under 110 on one occasion since round 11, which was that 101 against Melbourne. So, again, he's just an absolute beast. Can he get to the $1 million mark? He probably needs a better 110 this week, and I think he can get there against Port in a tricky matchup. I think Will and Drew will probably try and go to him there. But again, can you stop Nick Dacos? Because no one has been really able to do that this year. Actually, what was his worst score for the year? Actually, I didn't even look at that. The 79 against Carlton, and then the 84. But he did that in 2 out of 3 weeks there. So take out that sort of month where he had the one score that was good. Oh, wow. Got to hurt me really hard at the moment. I thought it'd be fine, but no. Anyway, I haven't done this for a while, actually. Normally I've been good with the round reviews, but it's hitting me again. But yeah, Dacos, poor month, that's what we're saying. God, now I'm bloody forgetting what I'm doing. This is an absolute shambles. Andrew Brayshaw, 110, just again solid. Hasn't really put up many of those big scores that I've been hoping since I've had him. He's only had that one score over 115 since I've had him, that the 129 against Essendon. I got him in round 13, and he's been solid. Hasn't put up any bad scores, but yeah, sort of just hoping for some of these like big monster scores. Again, Sydney, Geelong, couple of tricky games, Brisbane. But then hopefully West Coast. But then again, he hasn't had a good record against West Coast his career. So we'll have to see what he does in the run home. Hopefully he can put up a good score, like a big sort of 140 in those remaining games there. Brad Crouch, bit of an issue with Jack Steele now sort of taking some of those points. It's now back-to-back scores under 100. He's got North Melbourne this week. Then he's got West Coast. So I'm not going to... Sorry, not West Coast. Hawthorn, sorry. So I'm not going to trade him for at least the next 2 weeks, just because these two matches are just too good to sort of get rid of. But if he doesn't sort of do well in these 2 games here, I'll think about getting rid of him, just because if he's not going to perform well in these games, is he going to be a top 8 midfielder? So I'll be keeping him, but he is on notice. His break-even is at 124, so obviously he can hit that, but hopefully he can put up a good score. Rory Laird, now this was a roller coaster and a half. I thought he was done. Would that have been sort of late in the third quarter? Went for a marking contest, got hit in the shoulder, came off, went down to the rooms, and I thought, bloody hell, here we go. Going to be without Lairdy and forced trade, my boy, but he came back and had a very good last quarter as well to get about 40 odd points. So 131. Again, as I said to Tim, Bindi, and Fry, Laird's been solid. The last sort of 6-7 weeks, he's only put the 2 scores under 110, and that being 280s. One was a tag screen against Gold Coast. The other one was a sort of a game against North Melbourne. Just didn't look interested. But besides that, he's been solid. Hopefully, with that 130, hopefully his shoulder's all good. Just we'll have to keep to the news for that one. Hopefully, he can put up some more of these 120 plus scores on the run home like he did last year. But I'm not as confident as last year, just because Dawson obviously is going nuts. But hey, hopefully both of them can keep going big, because they did play against the Giants who are restrictive and both went well. So hopefully that can continue on the run home. Jack Steele, 3 out of the last 4 games, he's got over 100. It was just the touches. Oh, my golly, far out. It was just the touches this week. Only had the 22 compared to like the 31 he had the week before, but the tackles and the marks were there. So yeah, I think he's going to be good in the run home. I think he can go at 110 from here, based on what I've seen the last 3 weeks, and he's still a good option if you didn't jump on last week. He scored, what did he get? He got 11 in the first quarter. So, yeah, 95 points in the last 3 quarters. So, yeah, it's just showing you can get it done. Callum Mills, very disappointing, 71. He got a 90-odd last week, and I thought, okay, if he can... And then Sheldrick was obviously out, so I thought, great, more responsibility. Up against Bond, I thought he was going to play majority midfield, which he did. And he just didn't put it up. 71. It was, again, one of those almost games for him. He could have got an easier 90. But then again, parts of the game, you just didn't even notice him. So very disappointing from him. And yeah, he can potentially go if I can get rid of him this week. At the moment, he's not currently in the plans to trade. But we'll have to see throughout the week. If some like big sort of preem gets injured and I can go them down to a Toot, then a Mills up to someone, then that is something that could also be of note. I'd rather get rid of Ash. But Mills has been disappointing. Dev Rob coming on the sub, got a 20, and then Cooper Harvey got a 48 as well. Obviously, they're on my bench. Heath was very, very useful this week. He could have got my +3 for taking the VC loop. Tim Ings, we spoke about before, the 140, obviously huge, and very happy for him and having him as VC. Ryan Marshall, 99 there, very happy in the end because he was on, was at 53 at 3/4 time. But to have a 46-point last quarter to get that score, very, very happy with him. Tim Taranto, back to his 100 ways with a 111. A very low scoring game, that one, actually. Only to 2 players over 100. I thought he was going to go a lot bigger than that. It looked at times like he was going to go absolutely bananas, but sort of then had quiet patches. But 111, you still take it. Obviously, if you had him captain, you would have wanted more, but hey, 111 isn't too bad. Errol Gould at 126, very happy with him. He obviously ticked over the $1 million mark now as well, and just continues to... Is that 4 in a row over 120 as well? Yeah, it is. There you go. And look at that, just consistent. He's just an absolute beast, isn't he? Not even playing that full-time midfielder, just playing as a winger, but he's just a different type of winger. Just demands the ball, just goes everywhere, just gets involved, and yeah, he's an absolute beast. None of us predicted he was going to average over 110 this year. We were hopeful after that 170 in the or 180 or whatever he got in the pre-season, but I don't think we thought he was going to be actually... Hopefully that's the last one. The long one, get it out the way. Connor Rosie, 111, just continues to... That's now 8 in a row, 800, so he's just, again, a beast. Stephen Canellia, 105. He's a beast. I'm saying beast a lot for some of these players, but 105, he was obviously not doing too great. 33 at half-time. 34 at half-time, but a 71-point second half got him to his ton, which was very pleasing because I thought at half-time, I thought, great, he got the one big score last week, he's going to go bad this week, but hey, he put up a good score, and I still like him as an option if you can afford him. He's over 900k now, but, bang on 900k there, so, great, good option if you don't have him. Ben Keys, disappointing with a 70, but I was sort of encouraged by the fact that the Crows kept a pretty tight midfield mix with just Dawson, Laird, Keys and Sloan as the main 4. So is that going to be something that they're going to do moving forward? Because if it is, I think Keys is still fine to keep. And the fact that he had those CBAs, that's a positive. So I'm not trading him out, but something to probably keep of note for the weeks moving forward. Obviously, Drew didn't play, but I was able to take Marcus Windhager 100. Wow, that I didn't expect to go 100. I was hoping for a 70 plus, and I would have taken it. I sell on the pod. Funny enough, the selfish in me probably thought, like looking back at it now, if Windhager didn't actually go as well, would have brought in Solder, who got 100. But a lot of coaches had Windhager, so they would have relied on probably another rookie instead, or they would have taken that score, whereas I might have had the Soldo, but hey, I'm not going to be too selfish, considering that Windhager made an extra 50k, break-even 24 up to 522. He's just going to be some good cover because I don't need to get rid of him this week. So having him as an F7/M9 and being able to loop him through, like I can loop a guy like a Callum Mills or a Darcy Cameron who's in my utility who didn't play along with Lohman. I can loop those two and potentially do some, like, because I got Lohman and Drew, if both don't play, I could loop Mills and Cameron and take the best score of the two and then play Windhager if I want, or if both go well, I can take their scores. So it is something that I can do moving forward potentially, but that's how we went. So apologies for all the yawning in this episode. I didn't mean to. Unfortunately, has been a bit of a long day going the footy and being a bit busy last few days with a few nights out with the DT Talk traders and the traders. Sorry, DT Talk live shows with the traders, which has been fantastic. But also, just want to mention a quick shout out to all of the legends that came up and said g'day to me and Tim across all the nights, and then sort of in between, like a couple of guys on the Saturday night came up and said hello. Appreciate all of you guys. I don't want to individual shout out everyone because I will forget people, but I do appreciate everyone that came up and said hello. I do appreciate everyone's support on the channel and for the podcast for me and Tim. It was a fantastic weekend. It was great meeting everyone. And yeah, so rage trades at this stage, or sort of trades I'm looking at the moment, I'm just looking at probably doing sort of a double sort of switch. So at the moment, it's actually 2 North Melbourne players coming in for me. I'm actually looking at going a Lockie Ash to a Davies Uniacke there, and going Darcy Cameron across to a Harry Sheasel. I just like their 2 matchups, North Melbourne against St Kilda, and then who have they got the week after? West Coast, is it? I think it's West Coast. Yeah, West Coast. So just 2 really good matchups, and if I could have those 2 guys, they could pump out some good scores. So I'm looking at those 2. Toot Miller's another option there. Darcy Parish, Luke Jackson. I've also don't mind the look of as well if Darcy's ruled out for more than sort of 2 weeks, but we'll have to see. And then also Merritt if I just want to pay up for the big boy. So that's round 18. So a good round all in all. Obviously gone from 9,500 after round 13 to 4,200 post round 18. So 5 weeks. 5 weeks. I just doing the maths in my head quickly there. 5 weeks we've made over 5,000 spots, which is great. So 1,000 a week. Next week, if we crack the top 4K, that'd be obviously fantastic, and obviously top 3K would be awesome. But obviously, it's going to be harder to make 1,000 spots. Obviously, the closer you get, but that top 1,000 is still my mark. If I could hit that by the end of the year, I'd be very happy. Considering sort of the first 10 to 12 weeks were a bit difficult, or 13 weeks, I should say. But yeah, we'll have to see on the run home. But appreciate you guys tuning in as always. If you did enjoy the video, make sure you do leave a like, and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Bottom right hand corner, get involved. We're currently on 1220 subscribers, so 80 away from 1,300. If we could hit that by the end of the season, that would be fantastic. So make sure you subscribe and turn notifications on so you miss when I go live or upload any other content in the future. Social media links are in the description below, so make sure you go and follow me across all the socials. Let me know in the comments below how you guys went in round 18. Let me know your +3s, your -3s, and if you've got any trade questions, let me know in the comments below, and I'll get to those. Apologies, I didn't get to a fair few questions in the trade talk video on the Wednesday. I do apologise. I was just really busy with the traders live shows and obviously going out with the guys at Varsity on the Saturday night. So it's been a hectic few days, but I will get to those during the week. Appreciate you guys as always, and I'll catch you guys on the Wednesday trade talk video. Make sure you do check out the podcast with DT, Bindi, and Fry as well. Me and Tim had a good chat with them reviewing the round, so make sure you go and check that out on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. Make sure you leave us a 5-star rating and review. And yeah, appreciate all your support, and we'll catch you guys in the next video. So I'm out. Cheers.